Okay, this time we're working on the word Capstone project. I've already downloaded the instructions, so here I'm going to download the starter file, open it up. I'm using Office 365 for this project, and the first thing I need to do is enable editing, and now I'm going to save it with my last name, and I'm just going to go ahead and put it on my desktop, and I'm going to get rid of this starter file and add my last name and save. So we have a research paper for our capstone project. Formatting a research paper is a skill that will really save you a lot of time if you continue on with your education and you work on your English assignments and different projects for different classes. If you can use the skills from Microsoft Word, it's really going to save you a lot of time. Now we already have our research document here, so all we need to do is modify it according to our instructions. So the first thing that we need to do is change the style of our document to the MLA style. So to do that, we're going to come up here to the References tab, and right here is our styles. It comes in the APA style, and we need to change that first of all to the MLA. So it's going to make a few changes in the background to our document here. Now we still need to make some changes to our styles and make the changes for the MLA. So we're going to come over to the File tab, the Home tab, and we've got our styles here. So I'm going to right click on the normal style and we're going to modify it. So the first thing that we're supposed to do is change the font to Times New Roman. Then we're going to change the font size to 12. Then we're going to change the spacing to double. So we're going to come down here to the Format tab and Paragraph. Change our line spacing to double, and it's very important to change this after to 0. And we're going to say OK, and then OK again. So you can see how it changed all of our document, made it double spaced. We don't have the extra space in between our paragraphs or anything like that. So we want to change this Agile Project Management to the normal style. So we're going to just highlight it and change it to normal. And then we want to center, this is our title, we want to center that in our paragraph. The next thing we're going to do is add a header. So we want to insert a header. So we're going to go to the Insert tab. Over here is Header, and we just want the blank header. We're going to make it right aligned. So we're going to come up here to the Home tab and change it to the right align. We're going to type in Romano, and then a space. Now normally it would be your last name, but we are helping Sophia Romano with her paper here. So we're going to put Romano. Now we want to add a page number. So up here in the header and footer tools, we're going to click on that, and then we're going to add a page number, and we want to make it in the current position, and we just want it to be a plain number, nothing special. And so we're finished with that, so we're going to close the header and the footer. The next thing we want to do is add a first-line indent, and the easiest way to do that is to select all of our text. We're going to start here at one of the most discussed topics, and we're just going to click and drag down to the bottom of our document. We don't want the works cited here, we just want to go clear here to this goals. Now in the paragraph section, we're going to click on our dialog box launcher there, go to our special, and add our first line indent, make sure it's at 0.5, and say OK. So now all of our paragraphs have been indented 0.5. Now we have comments on our paper. So our instructor said, do we have a source for this? We need to add one if we do. So we've read this, so now we just want to delete this comment. So we're going to right click and then delete comment, and now we're going to add our source. So before the period, at the end of our sentence, we're going to add a new source. So we're going to come up here to the References tab, and here's our citations. And we're going to put in a new source, and according to our instructions, our new source is a website. So we are going to change this to website. And then the information is listed for us in our assignment packet. So Ross, Ted, and we can just hit our tab. Make sure you spell and put in the correct information here. And I'm just hitting tab to go from space to space. Once you have all the information entered, I'm going to say OK. And it's going to put the name of our author right in here for us. So next we have our next sentence. Let's see. We want to insert a citation to the using the existing query source. So right here for the next sentence, other industries now. We're going to come here, and right before this period after healthcare, we're going to put our insertion point there, and we're going to add an existing source. So we're going to come here to insert citation, and right here is query. Now this is what's really neat about this. Once you've added a source, you can come back in and you can put it in here. So like here's a Ted Ross that we just added. So if we had another one for him, we could just click on that. We don't have to re-enter everything again. We just have to click on her name, and it's going to put that source information right in there for us. That's where doing this when you're doing research papers can really save you a lot of time. You can actually go ahead and insert your sources before you even start doing your document. So now we're going to go to the fourth paragraph, ideal attributes. So right here's our fourth paragraph on our second page. And we are going to use the thesaurus to find a word that starts with a C to replace attributes. So I'm going to right click on this, and I can go to synonyms, and then here's thesaurus. And right over here is all of my words that mean the same thing as attributes. Now we want something that starts with the letter C, so I'm just going to use this characteristics. Come over here to this little chevron button and insert, and it's putting in characteristics instead of attributes. And I'm going to close my thesaurus button there. Now in the fifth paragraph, we have Sadler, and we want to change the source. So we're going to come down to that in your document. We're going to click on this little chevron here, and the citation is what appears in your document. The source is the actual information. So we're going to click on this source, and we need to add Scrum projects in a nutshell. So we need to add the word nutshell, and then we're going to say OK. And then in the same paragraph here, we've got the team builds the features during each sprint. We're going to add another source. So we need to put our insertion point before the period. Remember, when you're putting in a source, you put it before the period. So we're going to put insert citation, and we have a new source. And this time it's article in a periodical. So we're going to come up here. Article in a periodical, easy for me to say, don't ask me to spell that. And now we're going to put in the information from our instructions. It's Emma Wilson. I'm just going to tag down to the title, Sprinting to Excellence. It's real important that you use your capital letters and spell it correctly. Again, I'm just using my tab key to go from section to section and putting all the information in. Now, if you were actually looking at your periodical, then you would have to look all this information up. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Been working on this for a little bit. I want to make sure I don't lose anything. Okay, so now in our 6th paragraph, the next step, we've got this citation query, and we want to add a page number. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to click on it, I'm going to click on this little chevron. I want to edit my citation. Citation is what appears in the document. I want to add a page number, page 12, and say OK. That just helps my reader to know they can go to this source, look at page 12, and they can find this information there. Now we want to add a footnote. So we are going to come down here, and some teams hold the meeting standing up to keep discussions brief. That would help me keep something brief. We're going to put our insertion point after the period. Now remember, a footnote is when other information that you want your reader to know, but you don't necessarily want it in your document. And we're going to insert a footnote. So we're going to come up here to references. Here's insert footnote. It's going to put a 1 on our page, and then right down here we can put in our footnote. The meetings are called the daily scrum. So now we want to modify our footnote. Your footnote text should be modified the way the rest of your document is. So we want to come up to our styles and find our footnote style. So I'm going to come up here to styles and click on my little icon dialog box launcher there. And right here, I've got my styles. I'm going to click options because I don't want to just see recommended. I want to see all of the styles and say OK. And now I see my footnote text. I'm going to click on this little chevron and modify it. I'm going to modify it to 12-point font. And then I want to change my line spacing to double. So I'm going to have to come down here to the format, paragraph, change my line spacing to double. And I also want to change this to have a first line indent. I'm going to say OK and OK. So now I can close this box here. If I add another footnote later on in this same document, it's going to be already formatted for me. I don't have to think about it. It's already done. It's going to save me some time. Okay, so now, excuse me. Instead of the word mission in our document, we want to replace it with project. So we're going to have to use the replace function. So up here on our home tab, I can come over here to replace. And what do I want to find? I want to find the word mission. And I don't want to capitalize that. I just want to lowercase it. And I want to change it with project. So now when I hit replace all, it should find 3 instances of mission in my paper and replace that with project. You can imagine if this was like a 20-page document and I needed to make a change, how much time this would save me. So I'm going to hit replace all. Okay, I did something wrong, didn't make any replacements. So let's see what's going on. I'm going to go ahead and close this. Let me go up to the beginning of my document here, put my insertion point at the very beginning, go back to replace. I've got mission, replace it with project, replace all. Okay, now we've made 3 replacements. So make sure you put your insertion point at the beginning of your document. Say OK, and then close. So see, even though I've been doing this for quite a while, I still have to go back and make some changes as well. Alrighty, so on page 3, we have another comment from our instructor. It says, good conclusion, and we want to reply, and we're going to say thank you with an exclamation point. So we're going to let him know that, hey, we really appreciate what you said for us. Now we're on the final step of our paper. The very last thing you do when you're doing a paper like this is your works cited page. Your works cited page is always at the very beginning of the last page of the document, or the last pages, depending upon how long your works cited information is. So we're going to put our insertion point right in front of the W on works cited, and we're going to add a manual page break. So I can come up here to insert and put page break, and it's going to move it down to the next page. And now we want to center this title So our works cited is centered. I'm going to put my insertion point in the blank line below the works cited. And now I'm going to come up to references and come over here to the bibliography. And I'm going to come down to the very last one here, insert bibliography, because this isn't going to add a heading. See this with the blues, those are different headings. It would put that in my document. I don't want an extra heading. I just want to insert bibliography. And there we go. You always want to look over the bibliography to make sure that you didn't miss anything. Down here in our Snyder, we don't have the month that we access the information, so we want to go in and edit this source. So one way you can do that is just by going back up in the document and finding the Snyder, which is here at the bottom of page, I think it's page 2. Click on it, click on this little dot down the chevron, and we're going to edit the source. And our month accessed is October, so we're just going to add October here, say OK. So we made a change to one of our sources, so that means we need to come back to our works cited page and we need to update the information so that October gets added down here. So we're going to just click down here, we can right click on it, update field, and now you can see October is added into our Snyder resource. And so now we're just going to do a final spell check. So I'm going to come back up to the top of my document and I'm going to do a spell check. So I'm going to come up here to review and spelling grammar. And then I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to click improvements misspelled. So I'm going to just click on that and I'm just going to click and make the changes that it's telling me to make, and then say OK. And I'm going to save it, and I have my document all ready to be submitted for a grade.